right, let me get my audio. Good afternoon, everyone. Whoa, the old-fashioned prepper. That was not what I was going for there. Let's not do that. What the hell is this, Haunt? Whoa! All right, I'm having way too much fun with this. Sorry, guys. Nope. That. Whoa, that's fucking weird. Okay, yeah, I can't handle that right now. How about we just do that? There you go. All right, this one's going to be an early live stream and a relatively quick one. Because it's just been one of those days. My fun started at 4:30 this morning, and the fun just continued up until about 10 minutes ago. So, hey, Dan, what is going on? And welcome. So, a lot of you guys saw Yardbirds. A lot of you guys saw my short video where that gal, actually, it's gotten thousands of hits on YouTube, and it's about to go viral on TikTok, which is just funny. Um, where that lady comes around this dude's car and just like opens his door and then gets in his face. And hey, just doing our best, welcome. And the reaction from everyone was, why would you leave your door open? And I think it's very easy for us to go into that prepping mindset, like, oh, Ukraine war, or which is important stuff, right? I mentioned that this morning. Ukraine war or supply chain or EMP or grid down. And then what we don't do, which is terrible, is we don't look at practical stuff, like the stuff that can happen between here and like Sam's Club, right? And I think that's something we really need to talk about. And just from a pragmatic point of view, and it's something that All American Prepper and I talked about uh, in detail, especially with him having done protective services, as well as him being a bouncer in a club. Hey, Canadian. And he had a lot of insights. Got chemtrail earlier today, 10 a.m. X marks were everywhere. Wait, X marks, really? Mm, you mean the crisscross? Okay, sorry. I had to think about that. And you know what's funny is contrails behind an aircraft completely normal. Like we've actually replicated them in a lab, but some of them don't make sense. And there's certain things that are sus. And one of the things that bugs me, hey, Batchett, is they take legitimate science and then they do bad shit behind it. And then they're like, well, no, it's science. But no, you question frickin' science. That's why I knew something was wrong when how did David Spade do it? I was dying when I saw this. He goes, I knew something was wrong. I just finished adding 2 pulleys to make racing the kayaks up in the garage. Yeah, see, and that's what. And the title of this live was Rogue Engineering, and I'm going to start doing a series on some of these things. That's Rogue Engineering. You're like, I'm going to kill myself putting these damn kayaks up here, so I'm going to put pulleys in here, and I'm going to make it such that I don't kill myself. Uh, but today in particular, that short video this morning, that was bad. I mean, granted, it was some nutty woman who opened his door and she just got in his face. But what if a kid was in the car? What if it was a crazy person like that lady who was stabbing another guy's truck because she didn't like his, I don't remember if he had an American flag sticker or a Trump, so whatever it was. They weren't even messing with her. They were parked in two completely different areas. Like she was 20, 30 feet away, like at least 5, 6, 7 car spots away. If I don't like your bumper sticker, I don't go over there and stab your car, right? That's crazy behavior. Hold on, I can't see everything here. Live chat. Oh, yeah, look, live chat, and I can see people. Um, you don't do that. That's what crazy people do. But now it's okay because their feelings were hurt. They got triggered. So the same crowd who's telling us that they're getting triggered over anything I say and that they have the right, that it's violence. My words are violence are the same ones that when you punch them in the face tell you that you shouldn't hit people because of their words. These are the same folks that tell us, oh, 26-year-olds are too immature to move out. You need to take care of your kids till they're 30, or saying that 7-year-olds should have life-changing surgeries. They can all eat shit. Just my opinion. But the insanity is real, and people think it's okay to act like this. They think it's okay to go to someone else's car and open the door. Hey, Jake Hudson, thank you. And welcome. Hey, Stewarts. Joe, I learned today that if you're a heavy drinker, you can puke from drink, but you can puke from not drinking. Yes, that may be a sample of withdrawal, or you didn't eat enough and you barfed up everything. Jake, I'm doing good. Thank you, man. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Good, good. I'm glad. Wait, been in aviation forever, zero chance of widespread chemtrails. Mm. Cloud seeding is a science, and it is expensive. It's not easy. You need a shit ton of aircraft capacity to do that. And sometimes it doesn't work because Mother Nature's like, okay, here's your clouds, and you start seeding them, and then Mother Nature will go southwest wind, and the shit goes the wrong way, and then you like cause storms somewhere else. But yeah, but again, scientists, no, exactly, Canadian. The fact that, hey, Teresa, what's going on? And it is crazy people. It's insanity. Why someone would think it's acceptable to go to another person's vehicle and interact with them in a negative way. It's not like you knock on the window, hey, sir, you're parked incorrectly. I don't want you to get a ticket, man. There's so many ways to approach things, right? Um, Hold on a second here. Siri's like freaking out on my work phone. I don't even know why she was on. That's probably the Russian hackers listening to me. Anyway, uh, why would people do this? Okay, and it goes to the story. I was an air traffic controller, and had to sign NDA about cloud seeding. I believe it. There's a lot of stuff people who could not succeed in a competitive corporate environment will go to government and do, and then we get stuck with it, and we usually, as the taxpayer, have to pay it. But point being, the crazy behavior people do in the streets is just crazy. It just doesn't make sense. Uh, my that video I did, it was in 3 parts about the my family member who's followed around in a not an HEB, Hobby Lobby, and they're being followed around Hobby Lobby, and it took them about 45 minutes to really understand what was happening. The guy was dressed in a suit. He was actually dressed in, he had a blazer. He had a blazer and a tie and slacks and shoes. She did describe that he looked out of place. Like he didn't look like someone who was a business professional in a suit with hard bottom shoes, in a belt tucked in. He looked frumpy, is what was described to me. Like he looked like he put the suit on to make himself look better than what he was planning to do and behave as. Saw 2 videos of people walking around naked in shopping center. Hey, Homestead Aquarius. Yeah, and just doing our best. That's absolutely right. The behavior of these people. No, Karens do not use gray matter. And the weirdness is insane. I think we already had a society that was going toward this behavior of, I can get on Twitter and be horrendous to someone, right? I don't know what you're going through. I don't care. Your wife just died, your dog died, you lost your job, you have cancer. I don't care. That's the way they act. I'm going to be ugly to you because it validates whatever anger I have. But now we're seeing that behavior after COVID, right? So there was a year and a half, almost 2 years, where people were largely online just being shits. And now we set them loose in public, right? And then in 2020, they got away with a bunch of riots. They got away with riots. They got away with burning down stuff. Regardless of where you are politically, you see, I do use sarcasm as a weapon, right? But regardless of where you are politically, we saw the fringes just come out and attack random ass people in the street and burn shit and break stuff, and for the most part got away with it. So now we've created this society that has been conditioned over 24 months, right? How long does it take to make a habit? Like if you try to break smoking, right? It takes you like what, 3 months? Something like that. I don't know, remember what the guideline was. It's like to create a new habit, it takes like 12 weeks or something. Whatever. 24 months is more than enough time to alter people's behavior. And now we've set them out, hey, Pilgrim, we set them out in public and they're behaving like this. That is something you never would have seen 10 years ago, but you're seeing it now. Uh, I can't compute. I didn't get to shoot any rioters. Yeah, it is zombie mentality, Red. Uh, they don't think and they don't behave. I mean, you're seeing videos of people on their phones tripping and falling into the fountains in malls or in some patio, like they're out and about in a public space and bam, into the water they go. It's funny, but it speaks to the way people act. And what I want to do in this video, and again, it's not going to be a super long live today, but I do want to address what's going on in the streets. So, first of all, the stalkers, a lot of people think stalking, especially of females, of women, is like the guy comes out of the bushes with the mask, oh, and then grabs you. But that's not always the case. Very often, it's someone in your circle, not necessarily a friend, but someone who sees you all the time. In North American Deep South, now the coppers not arrested. North American Deep South. Hey, suburban. Coppers will not arrest for theft of under $1,000. I don't know. Will people beat the crap out of the robbers here, and then they call the law? You know, they're like, yeah, he's kind of got his ass kicked. He's over here. Apparently, one of the local store owners, he went to rob like a Mexican bakery, and these workers, you know, these are an immigrant family, and they busted their ass to make this beautiful bakery, and somebody tried to rob them, and the old man whacked him in the back of the head with a damn broom handle, pretty much broke the broom handle on his head. And then the sons came out and they just basically kicked the guy's ass, and they didn't know what to do, so they duct taped him to the counter and called the law, right? So the cop shows up, the dude's like full of duct tape, and you're like, I think he needs an ambulance. I'll call one of them, but you know, you're taken care of, right? Try that in a small town kind of thing. But what we're seeing is a lot of behavior. They're trying to get creative, right? So in the past, a lot of people said, oh, it was the stranger danger. But in reality, if you've watched the movie Silence of the Lambs, right, with Anthony Hopkins, he played Hannibal Lecter. For those of you who are younger, may not have seen that movie. He's a serial killer. And in the movie, he tells an FBI agent, so he's in jail, right? He's helping an FBI agent solve another case. And he says, your murderer will covet that which he sees every day. And that was spot on because most of the people who commit these crimes either will attack someone they see over a period of time. Now, there are random attacks, don't get me wrong, but more than likely, a lot of the trafficking occurs by people who watch the children or watch the teenagers. Yeah, and you do get cured right away in Texas. Um, you, they'll look and they'll see that kid who's by herself or himself, or the young woman who goes to work and she walks out from her store or her workplace at night by herself. They look for that individual that they can isolate and either try to groom for trafficking or they assault them. Would happen if, for instance, my wife, before we met, she worked in a grocery store and she, you know, was a college kid, so it was in the evenings, and there was a guy who kept, you know, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday he did his groceries, and he kept asking her out and she kept saying no because he was a creeper. And then, hey, Oki, this is her telling me the story after the fact, obviously. One night he came and he said, you really need to go out. He got very upset, and she was like, yeah, no, I'm not interested in you, you need to leave. And she called the manager and had him kicked out. What she didn't factor in is he was waiting in the parking lot. And she didn't think, this was years ago, to have the manager or one of the guys or a few people walk her to her car. So she went by herself, and he ran out and tried to grab her. And unfortunately for him, my little 5'2" with her boots on girl used to run track. So she hauled ass, and she said he was a big out of shape bastard. So he went after her. He caught her while she was trying to close the door of her car. And she said he was winded, like he was struggling to keep the door open. So she kicked the door into him. And again, being a runner, she had strong legs, put the door into his chest, and then deployed pepper spray. She said the big mistake she made is she deployed pepper spray everywhere. So she got him up the mouth, up the nose, in the eyes, sprayed his crotch for good measure, but then the spray hit the door, and then the spray basically made a big cloud. They're screaming and fighting. Other people came to help her. Then they got into the cloud of pepper spray. And then, hey, Texas, they all got pepper sprayed. The guy took a few beatings, and he ran away. They got away before the cops showed up. But a few of the stock kids popped him a few times, gave him a few knots on the head while he ran away. But you have to choose violence. Yeah, I'm too old. But point being, it was someone he saw on a regular basis, and he coveted her. The same thing with the young lady in Austin. He was probably actually trafficking. He was looking for certain women. So even though he may not have seen her before, he was targeting women in that area. He was comfortable with it. The woman who entered the car in that video short, hey, Dipsy Daisy, welcome. And anyone I missed in the chat, I'm not on StreamYard, so I'm like the chat pops up and then it goes away. You need to be cognizant of how these folks think, because they'll patrol a neighborhood for a while before they pick a house to kick in, or they grab that kid on the corner waiting for the school bus. They don't want to have risk, right? And this is one thing, the bad guys, if you want to call them that, as crazy as they may be, that woman opened the door because she felt comfortable. I'm in a mall and I'm a woman, so I can do whatever I want. And she opened the door and got in this guy's face, thinking I can get away with it because I have something to say. Honestly, if I was in a car and there was a child there and a female or anyone opened the door in that manner, there would be fighting. Because at that point, you've entered my vehicle. That's castle doctrine. I can't retreat from my car, so we're going to have a problem. Or you drive forward. She entered the vehicle. I have a kid in the car. I just tried to get away. I'm sorry. She broke her leg under my wheels. But they tend to want to do these things where they think they can get away with it and where they're comfortable. So either they see that one person over and over again, like Hannibal Lecter, they covet those who they see every day, or they're comfortable where they exist every day, right? They're always in the mall. They're always in the parking lot. Hey, old mutt. So they're comfortable. Oh, I've been out here before. I harassed that lady. I harassed that guy. I stole something from that guy's pickup truck bed, and nobody did anything to me. So I'm comfortable here. And then they get emboldened. You add to that 24 months of criminals not really paying for crime. They're still not paying for crime. San Francisco, which was one of the most amazing cities in the country, is now a shit show. It's an abandoned apocalypse city. The businesses are leaving. And the people who suffer the most are the working class, right? The really rich, bougie people, they'll get in their car and drive to the other city to shop. But the people who are there, right? The mom and dad who are struggling to make ends meet and they got little kids to do homework with, they can't take 2 hours to drive to the bougie Sam somewhere in upscale LA or drive to another city. They're screwed right there. Yeah, Same in Texas. So the castle doctrine includes your home and your vehicle. Now, obviously, tactically speaking, there's certain smart things you should do. I can't remember if it was Black Scout or someone else. They said if you have to engage someone, you have to look at the legal, moral, and tactical aspects of it, right? And so the lady going into the vehicle, right? Um, legally, she entered your vehicle. You check that box. Um, tactically, yeah, you just, or pepper spray and off she goes. Now, legally and then morally, are you in the right to do this? And I mean, if your life's in danger, morally kind of goes out the window, right? Because at that point you're in survival mode. But in that case, if there was a kid in the car, morally I'm protecting the child. Legally, she entered my vehicle, and tactically I could do it. So that checked all three boxes. The fact that that guy didn't react harshly, I forgot my excuse on my chair, um, speaks that he was patient, but I don't understand. And the original guy who put the video out there, he's a firearms instructor. He's called SVG Group. He goes by Sarge. He's an old Army sergeant. God, I think he's in Ohio, Nebraska. I don't remember, guys. Somewhere up north part of the country. Um, he said he was shocked that a reaction didn't occur, and he simply just held his phone videotaping. And that makes me crazy. Well, hey, he's going there, the respective meat suit. Well, yeah, at that point, you have a correction may be administered that involves ballistic trauma, something along those lines. These people will be emboldened in an environment they either think they know, they're comfortable with your routine, and they think they can intercept you, or they think it can get away with it. And it has to be multiple things. They're not going to go they're going to see, for instance, so Hayes Gray just jumped into the chat. So Hayes Gray and I, it would be an understatement to say we have known each other our whole lives, because we have. And if he and I are out, and I'm not a small guy. He's got about 50 pounds and 4 inches on me. He's a big guy. Um, we go out, nobody comes near us. Who the hell wants these freaking guys? A Navy chief and an Army engineer, and they're all, with tattoos and beards and what? Ugh. No, our girls go out, they'll attract attention, which ironically, we married the two women that are the only civilian females we know that have actually attempted to mag dump people. So, like, wrong girls, but point being, they're going to look for a victim. So, there was an interview, and I also attended a few seminars with law enforcement, which was super enlightening because they shared things that the criminals have told the cops. And one of the things they say is they're going to look for someone, Stucker talk, they're, go- they're going to look for someone who, they won't look at the guy per se, getting my steel now. Uh, they're going to look, I don't care if the mall has a sign, no guns. You go outside, it's, no. And Okie, at the end of the day, you're better off letting a lawyer fight it out than having the people who love you bury you. And that's something else we often don't, people think about, oh, self-defense. Well, you hurt that guy over your stuff. Well, that individual could have equally hurt me, hurt someone I love. I don't know what their intentions are when they got into my house or when they opened the door. So one cop told me that they interviewed a criminal, and he had gotten busted twice, so he was doing some time. And he was in an educational program because the guy wound up finding out he had a kid and he wanted to raise the kid. And he's trying to, he was actually trying to do the right thing. And he became a advocate for, like, youth, what do you call it? Youth outreach, when the juvies are just starting to get in trouble, kind of redirecting these kids. And he said the thing that he would look for, and he told this to the cop who shared it with all of us, they look at jewelry, they look at clothing, they look at your car. They don't always look at the guy, because very often, unless you're dressed up to go out, the guys tend to, we have a plain wedding ring. Uh, they'll look at guys for watches. If you have an iPad, they'll look at your accessories. They do the same for women, right? They see a girl with the Macy's purse. Okay, Walmart purse, Macy's purse, right? No bueno. But she has a Louis, or she has what do you call those big ones? The Consuela bag, or one of those higher end bags, and they look and they go, that girl spent $400. Somebody spent $400 on her. They look at the wedding rings, ladies. Guys as well, but they look more at the watch, because most men simply have a band. They look at the rock on the ladies, they look at the watches on the guys. They also look at the way you carry yourself. So you're looking up, you're walking with confidence, and more importantly, with purpose. If you're walking all mousy, very stiff, looking around, won't make eye contact, not that you should ugly mug someone. They look at me and say, that dude looks homeless. Right, but Yardbirds, you're not interesting now, right? They're like, I don't know about him. He probably has a switchblade, right? They don't want to mess with you, right? I'm out with a bunch of guys. Half of these guys have tattoos with, USMC on their forearm. They're like, that's a bunch of drunk military guys. Yeah, they have glass bottles. That's not who I want to go pick a fight with. But they will look at the couple that's completely distracted, playing on their phones, and they have the newest iPhone, and they have really bougie shoes, and the guy's got a Rolex watch with the 5 million diamonds in it, and she's got a big old rock on her hand and the Louis purse. They have money. Even if all he does is knock them down, grab the purse or the watch, and take off, he just made a grand. So looking, it doesn't mean you should be a ragamuffin necessarily, but understanding what they're looking for. And again, they're looking for something they think they can get away with. Uh, Joe, I enjoyed picking fights. And actually, Joe's a big guy, so that would be an amazingly bad idea to pick a fight with him. But yeah, I could see that though. I'm sitting here thinking, yeah, Joe would be like, way longer though. Folks, oh, sorry. Mm. Okay, Okie, that might actually be bad because that could hurt your finger. But to your point, not easy to get off. But normally, the wedding ring, if you don't have a bunch of, nobody has ever tried to take it, it'll. Right, but who wants to mug a hockey player? Like, half the game is punching each other. I love hockey. We even have a semi-pro team out here in West Texas, believe it or not. They feed the Minnesota Timberwolves or something like that. And these boys, these 20-something-year-olds, they're always punching each other. But again, they're looking for things they think they can get away with. Hey, Moonsprout. Um, yeah, gray man, exactly. Unless you have a reason to dress up, suit and tie, you're going to a special dinner or an event, you don't want to be super obvious. You want to be low key, right? Also, if you're carrying, you need to practice. And I have another video I'm working, I got to edit it. You have to practice the way you carry, right? So if you go to the range and you use, I don't know, a big Beretta, right? A 9mm Beretta, and it's a hip holster, and you're all tactical with, that bougie belt and the thigh holster. And that's how you practice. That's great. But if you don't walk around like that, and you have that holster under your shirt or in your purse, and you try and draw, you haven't trained. Now you've got your pepper spray got hung up on your pistol hammer, or you got it hung up in your shirt, and you need to understand. Yeah, no, I know, Joe. But see, like thigh holsters, there's a time and a place, but concealed carrying is not how you practice using you don't use a thigh holster to practice a concealed draw. So you should always practice the way you carry. But the situational awareness, a lot of folks say, man, how do I develop that? Because YouTube creators, we love throwing that phrase out, right? Situational awareness. What the hell? How do you do that? How do you develop that? A little paranoia is not bad. That doesn't mean you should, hallucinate and take cocaine or anything. Although I don't know, nowadays maybe taking cocaine would make you feel better with all the weirdness. But I'm not advocating the use of illegal drugs, by the way. But exercise, it's like anything else, right? How do you get good at running is that a sort of shotgun? How do you get good at, say, doing a marathon? Well, you start running, right? You run 1 block, 2 blocks, then 1 mile, 2 mile until you get however many miles. Same thing goes for situational awareness. And it's something I religiously forget to do. So I actively try to do it. For instance, you go into a Walmart, count how many, or say you go into Target, how many registers are open, make a mental note of it. Not relevant, but you're teaching yourself to look at the registers, then look how many people are in lines at the Starbucks and where's the nearest emergency exit. And you start getting into the Joe's cocaine is so overrated. And now we started we started a discussion on, oh god, hide the white snake. Also with me every place she's allowed. Actually, having a dog, even a medium-sized dog, a corgi, a border collie, much less a big one, a chihuahua is a mean son of a bitch. Like they will tear the shit out of someone's hand. I have seen small chihuahuas. A guy, someone grabbed someone and the chihuahua literally tore up his hand. Like the guy was bleeding. He ran away. He was like, I brought it up, Joe. Um, but having that training yourself, right? Walk in, and the first thing you should do is look around and say, where's the nearest exit? All right. And next time you're checking out at a store, I want you to, the minute you hit your PIN code on your ATM or your debit card, I want you to think, where was the nearest exit? Did I even bother to look? And you start doing that, and you train yourself to start looking up. When you're walking in a parking lot, right? So you park, say you can't get close to the door, so you park far away. Hey, watchman, what's going on? Do you barking little foosballs? And hillbilly, they're quick. So even if you try to kick them, they'll either latch onto your foot or they'll get away and bite you on the other leg while you're still kicking. Fucked up by a toothless Taco Bell dog named Princess. Nice. Prepper Nurse One, so most of his members in West Virginia carry everywhere. Yeah, and I'm to that point as well. Um, we basically, if I'm not in a secured area or in the office, which is not allowed, if I'm out and about, I'm carrying, because at the end of the day, it's like, if something happens and I get written up, I'd rather be written up than dead, right? Keep in mind, if you get hurt or you allow someone in your circle to get hurt, it isn't just the person who gets hurt. Your life is upended. Anyone who's related to you's life is upended because somebody's an asshole. So you don't want that. But again, practice that situational awareness. When you're walking in a parking lot, don't walk so close to the cars that you can't see between the cars. I actually, if there's no traffic, I like to walk right in the middle of the lane. So, you have all the cars like this. I'll walk right up the middle, because that gives me, if you look at a standard parking lot in the mall, that gives me 15 feet in either direction. Someone pops out at me, I at least have enough time to turn and face them and put my hands up, right? If I'm walking right against a car or right against a wall and someone just reaches out and clocks me, I have about a 1 second reaction time. It's gonna be enough time for me to realize I'm about to get punched, and then I'm gonna get hit. If I'm walking in the middle of that parking lane with the cars on either side, I got about 15 feet. Someone pops out, I can rotate, I can run, I can just say, screw this, that guy's like on crack or something, and I'm gone. I can turn and draw if you practice, right? These are the things we have to be smart about. Common sense things: lock your doors. Always lock your doors when you stop your vehicle, when you're parked. If you get in and you have to take phone calls or something like I do, once I get in, I lock the door and then I get on the phone, right? I'm a tiny dog eaten by feral cats. Oh, I believe that. I got hit with brass knuckles. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and Watchman's right, because a lot of these people you can't talk down. Um, and ironically, it's not always like the homeless guys. We always think, oh, the homeless guy's crazy. No, it's not always the homeless guy. It's very often someone who, in theory, should be normal. And they look like everyone else, and all of a sudden they just flip out for whatever reason. There's a lot of now hidden psychosis because, we had, again, like I said earlier in the video, 24 months of people being locked in and behaving badly on the internet and getting away with it. So we've conditioned people to be assholes, and now they're out in the street being assholes, and crime has gone up and nobody understands what's going on. You add to that inflation, economy, crime, food supply, whatever, and politics, and it just, people are agitated constantly. Yeah, my ex-son-in-law. Yeah, and Watchmen, that's right. It will get worse. So I guess if you take a walk away from this, right? I want you guys to had a lady jump her battery, asked her why the guy I saw drive up, hand her the battery cables, didn't do it, trying to get me out of the car with my purse in it. Oh, and running. Oh yeah, no, that was a smart move not to do that. I actually had a contractor knock on my door, and it's not uncommon. You get workers like, hey, can I do your yard, whatever. But I have multiple cameras facing the front. So I looked and he was right up on the camera. All I saw was him. And I'm like, that's weird because normally they'll knock and they'll step away so you can open the door and they'll talk to you. They keep a respectful distance. No, he was right up on the camera and he was like leaning over it. So I looked at the side view camera and he was in my doorway and around the corner at my garage door. So it's my garage doors like this, and then I have the entry. There were two more guys stacked there, just with their backs to the garage door. And I got on the phone, on the Ring camera. I'm like, "Can I help you?" And he's like, "Yeah, I need to talk to you." Um, why? Oh, we do work. I don't need any work. Have a nice day. And then he's like, "No, we do work, buddy. Have a nice day." Okay, because I said, "You have a card, leave a card, and I'll come get it later." Was anybody home? Doesn't matter if I'm home or not. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm not. Do you want to find out? Oh, well, you don't have to be like that. I said, Holmes, do I need to call the the sheriff, and have their guys come over? Because I got you on camera, so they're going to know who you are, and I got your car on camera. So they finally left. And as they're leaving, mind you, one of the guys goes around my truck and looks through all my windows as they're walking away. So, yeah, if it doesn't feel right in your gut, believe it's not right. It's better off seeming a little paranoid and being embarrassed than allowing your desire not to be embarrassed get you hurt. Churchgoers door knock. I tell them to scram. Back door with your gun and greet them. Okay, so I was watching because the one camera I could see the side gate, which was locked, and I'm like, if one of them goes over that fence, um, I got that Mossberg 500 is going to come out with me in the back door along with the dogs, and he's going to be in this side yard that's about 7 feet wide, and I don't even have to aim directly at him. I'm going to hit him with pellets, but didn't come to that. They took off, but it was weird because they hit my house and only one other house in the street because I was checking with neighbors. They were driving up and down, and for whatever reason, they were picking houses for a certain reason um, to see if anyone was there. I don't know what the goal was or how they were reacting. But again, things to understand. Uh, they look for certain things. They look for what they can get away with. They're looking for valuables. And this is probably common sense to all of you. You're probably wondering why the hell I'm preaching this is because clearly you saw that video. That guy did not react. Yeah, it can be escalation depending if they've breached the fence because my fence was locked. Right, I had the little sliding lock. So if they jump the fence, then they've actually breached the house. But if I went out the front door and confronted him, I might be escalating. So yeah, you got to be careful there. Buckshot wing. I actually saw someone get shot with birdshot at about 10 foot distance in police footage, and that he wished he died because he was done. He wasn't fatally wounded, but he got hit with about 50 BBs all over, and they went into the skin. Like he looked like somebody, when you take like food and you do pepper on it, and it's just little black pellets all over. That's basically what half of his body looked like, and he went into shock basically from the pain. He hurt in so many places. He just went and he became a dead roach. Surprisingly survived, but he went into a bad shock. Like they had to take him away in an ambulance. But yeah, but the buckshot and the slugs will definitely, yeah, that'll even number 4 shots very effective on mammals. But point being, you got to be careful what you're wearing and practice situational awareness. It's not something that comes naturally, right? So again, even when you walk out of the house, how many of you look out your front window if you're in a subdivision before you walk out of your house? How many of you look out your front door like the little peephole, even if you live in the country, before you walk out of your house? Have you gotten into that habit? Just a quick, nah. Is it raining? Is there a creeper there? You accomplish multiple things looking outside. Uh, when you go to the stores, check those emergency exits. Is there security? How many people? One, two? Is there a cop in the theater? Is someone acting squirrely? It's 110 degrees out here, and everyone's in like short sleeve shirts, and you get one guy comes in a hoodie and baggy pants with a backpack. You're either a psychotic or really on a serious weight loss program. These are No, yeah, Parabellum, definitely. If you have to engage, you do what you got to do. Rear with salt shot, short loaded. Fear the shotgun. I like that. And then Dad whipped his butt again. See, but you learn never to do that. You got your ass kicked twice, once by the salt and once by the old man. But this is important for people to understand. It's important for us to discuss, because I think people get complacent, and now the criminals are bold. I mean, we have nationally made it a point of not punishing people who clearly committing crimes that are hurting others, and they're getting away with it. And again, if they get away with it, it goes into that comfort zone, right? They see that person every day. That's a comfort zone. They know the area. That's a comfort zone. You look like you won't fight back. That's a comfort zone. They will look for things in their comfort zone. They're not going to go and pick on a fight with the three guys who just came from clay shooting that got shotguns on their arm. That would be ignorant. So, well, vulnerable to being a complete. No, and the Watchman, that's why I'm saying you practice situational awareness. So when you move publicly, you are confident in your movements. You are not positioning yourself physically or mentally to be snuck up on, to be a victim, because you're like, I have checked my surroundings. I parked my car. I know what I'm buying in the store. I'm not screwing off. And I will go, and that's true, Parabellum. I will walk down the middle of the lane, so I am not easy to approach. I'm not walking in panic or fear. I'm positioning myself. And again, I've said it about prepping, right? I've said eat tomorrow on today's pricing by saving food, etc. You're learning to roll with punches. Well, what I'm doing is trying to roll with punches before they're thrown. If I physically position myself to be in the right place, hey, Papa's Farm, I'm much harder to be a target. Doesn't mean I won't be a target. It doesn't mean anybody will actually screw with me. Nobody may ever mess with me. But always a smart play. Watch what you're wearing. Heck, if you're going somewhere, you could put your wedding ring in your pocket. If you're just going to the store, you don't have to take the fancy purse. Take a little clutch purse or something, a little backpack, whatever. Look innocuous. Look uninteresting. Somebody mentioned it earlier. Hey, Independent. Hey, KP. Uh, make sure that you are doing your steps so that you can move forward with confidence, right? Because if you've done the right things and you're now walking confidently, you're walking with purpose, you're not easily accessible, you've become very uninteresting. I don't want to have to run out in the middle of a parking lot to chase you. I want to stay in the shadows. You're walking quickly. I don't want to have to run after you. That expends energy. Hey, gun girl, how are you? Welcome. Uh, if you're carrying, like the ladies, you carry those, you can replace your purse handles, get those thick straps. You get them across here. You're walking with your purse. This way my daughter walks, and she has a SIG 365 inside, but she walks with it like a football. And she's not a weak girl. She's not a little girl, right? So she's walking. She'll walk with purpose. She looks, she scans, but she goes. Well, shit. Now I got to catch up to her. She's going to see me because she's paying attention. She's walking in the middle of the lane, and she's got a football like a purse, which means she's watching it. And I'm going to have to fight her. I don't want to do that. More than likely, she has pepper spray or mace or a gun or something I don't want. Look like look like you're not the target. Let them find someone else. Uh, the best way to leave this conversation is to remind you that if you're running from the T-Rex or the bear, You don't have to you don't have to outrun the T-Rex. You just got to outrun the other people, right? Outrun the other people by making yourself so uninteresting, they're not going to want to mess with you because it's like that person looks like too much work. That vehicle is locked and I see nothing exciting in the seats. I break this window, I don't get a reward, but I might get someone come out and kick my ass. So that car is not interesting. Whereas they look and they see that laptop in the back seat, right? Really, what does it take with a sledgehammer to break a car window? 5 seconds, bust it up a little bit, reach in, grab the laptop, run. They lose the hammer, who gives a shit? They got $1,000 computer. If there's nothing of interest there, not exciting. If you have dogs, dogs are not interesting. Nobody wants the dog, right? And if it's a dog that gets aggressive, corgis, you guys have heard my corgis, they have a phenomenally deep bark and no perception of the fact that they're short. They will charge anything. And in a group, they think they're wolves with little legs and they come as a group. We had a contractor here that, and they weren't even attacking him. They were trying to play with him because, they greeted him and they were like, okay, you're an acceptable human. He was tripping on them. I had to put them all in their crates. He's like, I can't work, man. And they're like knocking everything down because they're bowling balls, right? But if you have a German Shepherd, that's definitely not something anybody wants. In the dark, you may know where you are when you don't know where they are, and you could get struck in the head. Yeah. Again, when you park in like a parking lot at night, you can park under a light. Good idea in general. But when you're walking to the store, if you're far away, get in the middle of the right, because if you're walking right up against the cars, someone can pop out. Also, again, I can't emphasize enough, if you have an EDC, a firearm, a knife, brass knuckles, whatever, or just you're trained to fight, practice in the clothes you wear. Okay, it doesn't make sense. Like I said earlier, you practice with some tactical stuff with the belt and all the bougie stuff, and you're like, aha, I'm a ninja. And then you conceal carry with a appendix carry pistol under a shirt, and you never practice to draw from that holster because you're going to screw it up. The adrenaline hits, somebody got their hands on you and you're fighting and trying to draw, you're going to get hurt. When I did Uber delivery, I carried a gun only daytime. Yeah. So I did during the layoffs, I actually wound up doing Uber for a while. I would only do daytime and I would only go into the business district. I could have made more money bringing people from the clubs, but I had other drivers saying like, yeah, I had a guy with 3 chicks doing, drugs, and then he beat one up in my Uber, and I had to pull over and call the cops. I'm like, yeah, but I don't need that much. I don't need that. So yeah, guys, be smart. Hey, Prepper Book Club. Um, and again, EDC, you got to be smart. Practice with it. Know how to deploy it. Know how to use it. Know how to get it out and put it away without stabbing yourself, shooting yourself, or hurting yourself. Yeah, absolutely. And also, don't make yourself interesting. Don't make yourself exciting. Look like every other schlep. I'm in blue jeans and steel-toed boots with a work shirt on. Nobody wants me. They're like, no, he probably has a pipe wrench in his truck, right? He'll whack me. Whether I have a gun or not, they're not interesting. But they are going to look for the mom with a nice purse or the dad with a nice backpack with 3 kids and he's absolutely inattentive to what's around him. Or the teenagers like this while they walk around the mall. I literally have seen a group of 6 teenage girls, and I've seen the boys do it too. In the mall, they were like little geese in a V. Not one of them was looking up. They're texting each other. They're like, just put the phone down and talk to your friend. What are you doing? Um, yeah, they do. They don't like people that are aware. They don't like people that look. If you look and acknowledge them, you nod or you go, hey, good afternoon. You just acknowledge them. They still have malls. Believe it or not, yeah, they do, Joe. Not in the big cities, though. The big city malls are kind of dead. It's out in the country, they still have them, kind of. They're kind of weird now. If I called in, I bet Joe Morgan is your driver. I'll tell you what, nobody will mug you if Joe was your driver, though. That's for sure. He'll run them over. But then you'd have to testify, so you have to like make sure the cameras are off or something. Mess with me because I tipped them the destruction. And the watchman will just freak them out. Or be like, did you know The apocalypse is nigh. Do you know that you may become bones and ash tomorrow? Could you imagine saying that to somebody? It'd be like, oh, I don't like you. You know, they'd leave. Yeah. Uh, My car, unless you're going to share. I never park right in front of big box stores. I like the edges. Yeah, this is true. And walk into a fountain. Yeah, I said that earlier. They just trip and go into the fountain. So, folks, if nothing else, remember that video, that short I posted earlier today with the guy who just let someone open his door. He was trying to get good footage. I get it. He was trying not to be violent. I get it. That's a bad play. He doesn't know that lady wasn't going to stab him or claw him or hurt someone in the car. You gotta be smart. And I mean, I think I'm preaching to the choir because most of you are preppers or aware of what's going on, and you're like, well, duh. But clearly, not everyone does it because the video shows that the guy let them do that. And you can look on the internet, and there are all sorts of videos of people getting bushwhacked because they're not paying attention. So, if you want to walk away with any homework, go to people you know and say, hey, put your damn phone down and look where you're walking. Or if you want, do what I do when my kids would walk around and text, I'd hip check them and make them drop the phone. And I'm like, you break the phone, I'm not buying you a new one. And I piss them off. And I'm like, well, look where you're going. Then I won't break your phone. You know, oh, sorry, I tripped. They hated that. They knew I didn't trip. I hit them with my hip on purpose. But in any case, guys, ladies and gentlemen, pay attention to your surroundings. Be mindful of how you are presenting yourself, how you're getting from A to B. And, look in the rear view. Leave yourself space when you're at a stop sign. If you're crossing the street or you're in a mall or a store or whatever, look around you. Practice situational awareness. It won't come naturally if you don't already do it, but you can learn the habit of doing it. If they could take 2 years and give us the habit of creating a bunch of internet assholes, we can do 8 weeks of practicing active situational awareness. Look for the exits, count the registers, um, lock your damn car doors. Yes, absolutely. And be smart. Just be careful out there. All right, guys, God bless. Take care. And just a reminder, this channel is also on Rumble. So for those of you who want to go there, these videos ultimately wind up on both channels. You guys be good and take care of yourselves out there.